Come here. Get off.
Today, we're talking to Theresa, a 42-year-old divorced executive living in the Northeast whose pronouns are she and her. Hey, Theresa.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on today.
So happy to be here with y'all.
Yeah. And we're happy to have you here. And now we finna get all in your business.
All right, let's go get in.
So let's jump in. You're like, damn. So when do you remember first masturbating?
I would have been probably around 6 or 7-ish. 6 or 7-ish. Probably like around 7.
Okay. So what's your preferred technique? Well, what was young Theresa's preferred technique? Sorry.
There was a bear. Ooh, that was a bear. Ooh, when I think back. Ooh.
That bear got the business.
He got the whole business. He was a big bear. Like, if you think about the fact, like, how an average 7-year-old would be at that height, and it was like one of those, like, almost like big, like, you know what I'm saying? Big bear.
I had a Minnie Mouse like that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was just big. It was just big enough to be my real friend. And it was, thick. It was thick and it was white. And I could just hop on top of that bad boy and just go to town. And just, yeah. And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Who knows how people figure those things out? But once I did, it was like, me and this bear need some alone time. And
I feel like a lot of time it's like kind of accidental, right? We brush up against something and get a good feeling and be like, oh.
Yeah, because you have the bear in the bed and you cuddle with the bed. And cuddle with the bear. And the next thing you know what I'm saying? One thing, you had a couple of drinks. And one thing leads to another.
That Tang got real crazy one night.
Tang got to popping. And, me and the bear were best friends. That was, yes.
Okay. Did your bear have a name?
Now, here's the dumb thing. My mom would remember. We ain't gonna ask her. We're not gonna.
No.
We're not gonna ask her.
We were out of this.
It might have been Oscar, but it might not have been. And I would have to ask her to confirm. And I couldn't fix my face well enough to ask her the right way. So we're just gonna call it the bear. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. So we're gonna jump to another first. How old were you when you had your first kiss?
Oh, kisses were in kindergarten. Kisses would have been earlier, like 5, 6. There was, well, maybe that's who Oscar was. Maybe he was in my kindergarten class. That's who it was. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, and I don't know, how old folks are, and if you remember back in the day, which would have been the early 80s, light-skinned dudes was in. And so he was a little light-skinned dude in class. He was my little buddy. He had curly hair, and I thought he was cute. And kindergarten, that was my first little friend, first kiss.
Light-skinned niggas in the 80s got...
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They got all the play, all the play. And my mom even told me when I was younger, she was like, you're going to grow out of that. She was like, you're going to grow out of that. I mean, my father
experience more of the world.
Yeah, my father's a dark man, and, she's definitely a fan of the chocolate. And she was like, you'll grow out of it. And she's right. I mean, of course, I appreciate the entire rainbow at this point. But yes, kindergarten, first kiss, Oscar, light-skinned bruh.
Yeah, you was watching like The Last Dragon and shit like that.
Now, The Last Goddamn Dragon. Jesus Christ. Everybody wanted Ty
Mac.
Ty Mac.
He wasn't even really light skinned though, but he was curled. He had that wavy
tan situation happening. Yes. Yeah. So Oscar was my little Ty Mac. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you remember, like, the question is, how old were you when you had a sense of your gender identity?
Oh, also very early, because what had happened was, and this is why we changed names, it's because it's my father's fault. God bless him. I really need, I really do. But the thing is, I mean, my parents will say that I came out like loving pink and stuff. And like, I was a girly girl, and I don't really remember feeling that was a girl thing or something. I just remember like I thought stuff was cute, and I thought the pink ladies, and I grew up with Grease 2 for some reason. Grease 1 was not in my household. Grease 2 was the thing. And the pink ladies had their little jackets and stuff, and I just remember really loving pink everything. And the neighborhoods that my parents, were able to find when I was young, first in the South and then in the Northeast, both times had girls that were my age and then boys that were my brother's age. So I always had like a good sort of gaggle of girlfriends. But here's the thing. I found porn very early. My father is an immigrant, God bless him, and maybe not as keen on, how to hide things and,
He was like, in my country, kids say the hell out
it's just,
of
So he really hadn't put, too much thought into where to put things. And I remember finding not just magazines, but like hardcover magazines, like thicker, like
he was like,
like
channel
really the good shit. Yeah. And I remember seeing these women who were like, they just looked like superheroes. They looked like, look at my shit, and you know what I'm saying? I'm about to fly into the sky with my legs wide open. I am the champion and you will bow to me. And I was like, these women, like this is some boss shit. Like I just thought that they were everything. And it were always like men that were like, oh, and it was just, men were like sort of worshiping them. That's the way I saw it. I don't know. That's the way I saw it. Every time I saw something that was pornographic, I was like, these women are clearly in control, which is interesting given, the sort of dialogue on porn now and how it's like abusive to women and stuff. I'm like, that's just never been my experience with it. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, these shows look like they have a good time. They look hella satisfied with life. But yeah, so I remember identifying with that and being like, oh, okay, cool, we got this. Like
I found my tribe.
Yeah,
in these fancy ass magazines.
Bust it open. Bet.
Tribe, bust it open. I am a part of that tribe too.
Right, the bust it open tribe. Early on.
Bust it open. Yes. So my bad. I was about to jump over you, Kenrya.
Oh, okay. So how old were you when you first started experimenting with other people?
8. That first one, I'm just gonna put it out there. Listen, I know I'm not alone. The first little grind situation was a cousin. He was, a cousin that might have been like 1 year older. He didn't
Boy cousin, girl cousin.
Boy cousin.
Uh-huh.
And he was here in the country for a bit, didn't speak the greatest English at the time.
So you was like, let me show you what we do in the States.
You ain't got really much to talk about. So but we were like, the same age-ish. And made use of the time.
Okay.
And it was like, I remember, well, even before that, like before we moved back north, I would play like house. You know what I'm saying? So there would be that thing. I think the way I remember, like I was always hype about being rubbed up on. So there was that. So house was always cool because you get a little like alone time under the covers and stuff. No, okay, I'm going back even further. There was a babysitter. Ooh, Jesus, this is all sorts of wrong. But there was also a female babysitter who was probably not in her right mind and used to, I had an older brother, and I think he used to sort of like get to touch on her. And I think every once in a while, like she would be, that's bad. But also, also playing house, little, which I thought was awesome. And none of this, and this is the thing, like none of it struck me badly, like then or now. Like it just, I don't have sort of traumatic, memories about it. It just kind of was like all of it just felt great. And I feel like I always felt safe. I never felt like I wasn't safe or that I was confused about any of it. It always felt like I was in some way complicit, even though I'm sure, legally things were wrong. So yes, then it was playing house. Then it was my cousin when we moved back up here. And that was all just sort of, I remember like we would play like little like animals. Like we would be like little lions, and then somebody would be sniffing somebody else's butt. And then the next thing somebody would be, sort of grinding, humping somebody's butt. And that was cool. That was the first. That was like the start. It was early.
So do you think, I mean, I think it's interesting that you noted that, like, you've always kind of been okay with it and felt safe. So do you feel like that's contributes to why you're so sex positive today?
Yes. Yes. It not only contributes to why I'm so sex positive, it's why I feel passionate about helping other people, because I recognize that, like, if you can go through these things and come out okay, it means that it's possible to be okay. And
Mm-hmm.
for people who aren't okay, it's helpful to see that there is a possibility of being okay. I mean, if you just think like, okay, this happens to everyone and everyone is destroyed for life, then that's just sort of your only option. But if you see that you can actually be okay after certain things, then hopefully, I don't know, that can help usher people. Yes, but I even at my worst times, I've always felt very positive about sort of the healing nature of sex and feminine power in
Mm-hmm.
sex. I've
Okay.
never felt, you know, not empowered. I've always felt,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely.
Hmm. So can you tell us about your first time having actual partnered sex? How old were you? What was that like?
Yeah, sure. Well, my first oral was first. Oof. Little boy went down on me. I was 10 when that happened, and he had an older
It took
brother.
me like niggas in
Yeah, I think I was 18 the first time I did oral, and it
Ooh.
was like a whole conversation because we were so stigmatized about it.
Oh
yeah, I feel
no.
like I feel like guys expected, but it wasn't yeah, good
Oh yeah,
job.
the first time I went down on a guy, I don't know how old I was. I must have been in college. I was probably in
Yeah.
college. But the first time a guy went down on me, we were both 10, and he had a very much older brother who was telling
Oh.
him like, this is what you should do. I remember what panties I was wearing. I mean, I remember where I was sitting on the steps in his house, and it's great. But okay, so the first time, fast forward, the first time I tried to have intercourse, I was 13. And the little boy I was with was too big. God
Mhm.
bless him. Um, and he was a year ahead of me in school, and I'd known him for a while. And he, I think, was like sort of like the community first time guy. Like he was just gonna
Just breaking everybody in.
He's a mercenary.
he had
Like,
figured out how to get things going and was just going to go around to all my girlfriends and make sure that if we needed something that we were looked after. So he really tried, and I was like, this is not, I don't think this is going to work. Like, just looking at it, this looks like something that's not really smart and possible.
and I got the
um
virgin mercenary.
yeah, he really, you know what I'm saying,
Send
God
him in to
bless
take care of
him,
this job.
helped so many of us out. We all appreciate him. But then my first time actually ended up being a year later. I was 14, and I had a boyfriend, and I was a freshman and he was a sophomore, and I was a cheerleader and he was a football player, and it was all very cute. I remember it kind of stinging a little bit, but I remember feeling like, yeah, like, bear down, we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, this is gonna feel good one day, like this is great. But I was just so happy to be with him, and he was so patient, and so concerned about whether or not I was okay. And I was like, yeah, let's keep going. Let's let's mush through. Don't give up. You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. I was determined to not walk out of that room having not had sex. So,
Mm.
so yeah, so it worked out well, and you know how we are at that age. Ain't nobody supposed to be in your house. So I had to skip out of his house, and he was in walking distance from my house, and I sort of skipped home giggly good.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
So when did you have your
First one.
first orgasm with a partner?
Hmm. I mean, it must have. I must have been him, but I haven't locked that one away. I don't know. They just started happening. I honestly cannot remember. I can't remember.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
All right.
Good question.
Mm. So, what three words would you use to describe sex in your teens?
In my teens, um, uh, sex in my teens. Sex in my teens was. I mean, it was aight. We're going to use that one word.
It was I. That's
Yeah,
three.
right. It was protected. And it was confident.
Hmm.
Yeah. At the time, uh, there was a behavior that I was sort of on the outside of things. I wasn't in crowd growing up. I was already sort of a weirdo outcast, child of an immigrant who couldn't jump double dutch or speak right. I talk like a white girl. And so there were a lot of things I think that were sort of, common thought that I just couldn't subscribe to. And one of them was like, oh, so and so's been sleeping with all these people, they're a hoe, or, that sort of stigmatization. I didn't have that. And so I kind of just felt like, I don't know, if I want something, I don't see a problem with getting it. And so it was sort of free in that way. It was confident. But the sex comparatively, I'm sure it was
So then what 3 words would you use to describe sex in your 20s?
mm, mm,
Your
yeah.
face.
Interestingly enough, I was married in my 20s. I was married. Sex was early 20s. It was great, frequent, and then confusing.
Mm.
It really, I mean, it was a transition. Things were great, and then they were frequent, and then during my marriage, it really got confusing. That would be my first experience with, if I were to call anything sexual trauma,
Hmm.
that would be it. Having to deal with my husband at the time. He not only was extra big, um, I had never experienced emotions complicating, your libido. You know what I'm saying? I'd never, and I couldn't figure it out. And of course, we're all young at that point, and he couldn't figure it out. We used to do it all the time before we were married. Why? How come we're not doing it now? And I'm like, I don't know. It used to work, and now it doesn't.
Hmm.
And it's just so weird in retrospect, thinking back, that wouldn't have occurred to you. But of course, when you talk to 20 somethings now, you're like, you don't know shit. Damn, you stupid.
Yeah.
Because it just really didn't occur to me that my fear of this man and confusion about our relationship and disappointment about our relationship would have turned off my vagina. What? You know what I'm saying? You like sex, you like sex. You should just be able to at least like the sex part. My body was like, no, bitch, no, we don't like him. You don't like him, I don't like him either.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So it wasn't until long after I was out. Actually, no, forget long after I was out. The day after I left, she woke up like, we out, bitch. We out. We out, bitch. We out. Who's he? Him. Them two. Who are they? And I was like, oh, word? You're here? I didn't know. I thought you were dead. I thought I had reached my peak and that, it was time for retirement. And she was like, no, I just couldn't stand that nigga. And so
Body always knows.
yeah, the body knows. Body knows. And it's just, again, the weirdest part about it is not realizing it in the moment that's what it was. And so it does make me think about women now who are like, I don't know what's going wrong. And I'm like, damn, I remember being there and not realizing. So the 20s were very complicated. It started out great and it fell off. And then right before I turned 30, it sort of picked up again.
So now let's move on to your 30s. How would you describe it?
The 30s were a turn up. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, the 30s were great. 30s are when I started having multiple orgasms, multiples on multiples. And I thought that was a very nice gift. After my 20s, I was like, okay,
Yes.
yeah,
You
thank
deserve.
you. Right. I was like, this is very kind of you, because honestly, the 20s were whack. But yeah, I spent my 30s, most of them split between two long-term monogamous relationships. And there was never a time I was in, a relationship where I felt even an urge to be with someone else, which is interesting because now I'm sort of a lot more open. But at the time, it just wouldn't have occurred to me to, think about multiple people or whatever. So I was very sort of comfortably in these relationships. The first one was with a younger man, and he, had a whole bunch of energy. And I thought that was great. And everything was great, great, great. Sex was great, great, great. It was great. And then the second one was with another gentleman who was also great, great. He was uncut. And that was interesting. I learned some things. It was, you know what I'm saying? You learn some things. You're like, oh,
A
okay.
turtleneck.
Yeah, what is this? What's going on here? The first time I saw it, I really was like, wait, what? Because I had never even, I don't think I'd even thought about uncircumcised penis. Like I just never, and so I got to know that. But the sex was great. 30s was easy. There wasn't a lot of guessing going on. I knew who I was going to, and it was like good every time. 30s were fine.
Lit.
Yeah. Yeah, 30s were lit. 30s were lit.
And what about your 40s?
Oh my God. You know what's so funny? I'm thinking about the 30s like they were forever ago. I'm like, oh, I'm not even that old. I'm not even that old. The 30s. Okay. So really I just covered like the first half of the 30s and the second half of the, well, no, it's all been good. But there was a couple of years where, I mean, just not the sex. It was just me and my life kind of went sideways. But 30s were great. 30s were when I really, like I said, the multiples came. 40s, still going strong. Sex has been great. I'll tell you this. Yeah, geez. In the last 7 years, really, my sexuality has shifted. Because prior to maybe 37, I had really only been with men. That's a strong, really, I said that a little too hard. I mean, there was a couple girls earlier on, but they don't really count because it was all sort of like, wait, what's happening here? I never really I went after it, but it wasn't until my late 30s that I started like enthusiastically having sex with women too. And it was always, I think, it was always in some like threesome, situation. It was always like, oh, who's she? Cool, that it's going down. And then I got to a point where I'm like, how do I find John's like without this dude? Like what?
Not the middleman.
Yeah. How do we cut out the middleman, sis? How can I see you? And so that got to be cool. That got to be really cool, and I thought it was an interesting shift. In my life, I kind of didn't know what to do with. Like, do I want to do what I want to be in a relationship with a woman, or is it just like sexual? But my body's been doing great into my 40s so far, and I'm horny all the time.
Hey,
Yay.
All the time, all the time.
We like it.
Turn up.
So, tell us about a sexual experience that you remember fondly.
Well, last week, no.
Okay.
Okay, honestly, okay, again, this is why we have to. I just recently, I've had so many great experiences. Threesomes have been great, but just recently was the first time a man allowed me to finger his asshole.
hey.
Jesus. Be a finger. Holy hellfire. Come on, like dreams and goals in life. I really felt like, check this box. Like, yes. Why? Like, why do I care? But I did. It was just so. I watch a fair amount of male gay porn. And what I've
Me too.
Yeah, what I'm finding is, first of all, I love men, right? I love men just spiritually. I love men. And I think because I love anal play so much, I wish more men knew how great anal play was. So that's sort of where, when I see men enjoying anal, I'm like, that is everything I love in one video. Like all the things coming together. So being able to be with a man who understands that, you know what I'm saying, without feeling like,
And is comfortable with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is comfortable
because
with
it's
it.
deeper than just, this sex act, right? It's all the things that come into play that allow him to be comfortable with you putting your finger in his booty.
Man,
Yeah.
that freedom is just such a turn on.
Okay,
man.
listeners, her fingers are literally moving her fingers.
All of y'all. Knuckles deep, man. Knuckles deep, bro.
I
Honestly.
love it.
Oh. Woo, you hear my brother say deeper, you be like, oh. What? Lord
Oh
have
my
mercy. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Jesus Christ, that shit was such a blessing. But yeah, so that was a memorable moment for me that just happened into my 40s.
It's just
Yeah.
nice to be with a man that is comfortable, like letting go of
Mhm.
all of that shit and
Yeah,
just riding
man.
a wave. Let's see what happens.
Honestly, I've been trying goals again to get a DP situation going. I really, it's a
Mhm.
fantasy to just have, two men. And the only opportunity I've had, like, they can't keep it up because there's
Mm.
something sort of inside them that's just like, I can't do it. Like, and it's just like,
Mhm.
come on, man. Like,
Come
Homophobia.
on.
do it, yeah, do it for me. Focus on me. And, whatever. If you brush up on each other, like, well, it's all good. Like, we're all
You
in this
both are literally in
together.
pussy. Like there's no
Yeah.
like yeah.
Right. Fix your mind. Like, you have been emotionally scarred into thinking that, like, this is a problem.
Mhm.
Why? I don't know. That's not scientific, but I am frustrated with how deep seated,
Mhm.
Black male trauma is, and how it complicates my goals.
You getting away with my shit.
Selfishly. Can't you just get over your trauma for me?
Jeez.
Jeez.
Cause shit I need done to this thing.
Yep. Yeah. So, we still got work to do. We still got work to do.
I mean, we goals. We're just gonna
Yeah.
keep
Goals.
plotting
Goals.
towards
Yeah.
those
That's
goals.
right. I'm going to hug them into my vagina. Yep.
Okay. On average, how many times do you have some sort of sexual contact in a week?
How many times did I?
And I
When I
will
used when I used to have sex.
Well, includes masturbation.
Oh.
masturbation, sexting, nudie,
Oh.
nudes,
Oh.
all
Oh.
that.
Daily, 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 daily.
Okay.
Daily. Yeah. It's funny because I have like a whole, like, case of toys that I never use, unless somebody says bring the toys. I never use them on myself. I have one little vibrator that I keep under my pillow, and I go through stints where I'm just not interested in using it, and then I get through some days where I'm like, "Ugh, like, just do it." You ever have to force yourself to masturbate? You ever just be like, just do it, just do it. You'll feel
Yeah.
better after you do. You'll go to sleep. Jesus Christ, just do it.
I definitely had that like 2 nights ago. I was like, you know what? We
Do
gotta we gotta
it.
handle
Turn
this.
it on. Just turn it on, and
Yeah.
so you so you make yourself do it. I every once in a while will get the nerve to record myself doing something, and I have a little small audience of folks that I'll send things to who just appreciate, receiving a gift of video. And so those folks every once in a while pop up and say, "Hey, send me something." And then besides that, I mean, yes, it's when I'm in something, when I have somebody regular, it's usually like a once a week situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. So, I know you said you're horny all the time, but
Mhm.
are there certain times of day that are best for you, either because of time or interest or other shit that's like interfering in your life?
No, I mean, well, it usually comes down to the evening for me. It usually just comes down to the evening based on, schedules. Um, I was seeing this one guy where every once in a while, which is too much for me, we would fall asleep without having sex. And then I'd hop up because I'm an early morning person, early, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and be like, look, I gotta go and be out. But then once I ended up staying until like 8 or so, I realized that around like 6, 7, he would wake up and be like, now's the time. And I'd be like,
Hey.
oh, I didn't even know I was leaving before the show. I didn't know. I had no idea. So then you start staying a little bit later. You're like, okay, well, if that's how it's got to work, I will stick around for that. But yeah, usually it's just the evening for me. I mean, I'm down all the time, but just in terms of schedules, the evening is usually when things get popping late night.
So when you are in a partner sex situation, is there like an optimal amount of time that works for you? Like, are you a quickie girl? Or are you a we got to be at this for a few hours kind of chick?
Okay. So my last situation of 4 years, which just ended this year, unfortunately, um, we
No,
had a
you were
pretty good.
it ended because it needed to end.
It did
Yes.
need to end. It did. It really did.
On to bigger and better.
Yeah. It's tough. I love them to death. Still good friends. Just
Mhm.
still have had sex with them twice since I left. But
Look.
but yes. but it couldn't be this regular thing that it was. But when it
Mhm.
was, um for one, we had a routine, right? So like, I don't mind routine sex at all, especially if it works every time. You just do the little combination, you spin it to the right, then twice to the left and back to the right. And it's like, boop, open. That worked great. It worked.
Like a fucking
He,
cheat code.
yeah, cheat
Yeah.
code. So he spent a lot of time going down on me beforehand, which was a blessing. Honestly, so some nights you just do that and I'd be good to go. You know what I'm saying? I return the favor and we're just like, that was great. As a matter of fact, the first time we ever had sex, it was just oral. And it was so great. It was like, I might never have to have sex again. Like, this is fantastic. Nobody's ever. He's so great. And it was great every time. And so I just let him be down there as long as he wanted to. And he just really wanted to be down there. How much time would pass? Jesus Christ. I mean, I think an hour max between, oral and penetration. But yeah, we would do that, and then I'd hop on top, and then he'd hit it from the back, and then he'd hop on top, and then he'd bust, and it would be like, "Yay, we did it again!" And that would probably be an hour every
We
time.
did it. We
We
did
did it exactly.
it.
Now the finger experience that I had most recently, that was a marathon. That was, going, 30 to 40 minutes, then passing out and then waking back up in another 30 to 40 and passing back out,
Mm.
which is also great. But for that steady, I know you can't, we're not going to do quickies because like I said, I come a lot. And so I never feel like really done until it hurts a little bit. You're like, you gotta tap out because you really shouldn't anymore. But I do appreciate someone who can give me a little time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were partnered or when you partner, where do
Hmm.
you usually do it?
Usually in the bed.
Okay.
Yeah, usually in the bed. I would like it other places. I think I have expressed that not to him because there's really no other place in his house that would have made sense. But um,
Those good urban apartments.
yeah, you're like, this is it. This is all we got. Yeah, so I like it other places. It's funny. Recently, I was thinking about car sex. I haven't had sex in a car in a while. Um, and I don't know if I'm romanticizing it because I don't remember it and it was really whack back in the day. But I, one time last year, I was in a park on the hood of a car
Mm.
in the Rizane.
Oh, that
Ooh,
sounds delightful.
that sounds like a 90s R&B music
Yeah,
video.
yes.
Yeah.
And I had the nerve to actually care about my press out for a second. I was like, oh no, my hair. Because it wasn't like pouring rain, like it was just sort of like drizzling misting.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is bad for my hair. And he was like, if you don't shut up, like,
Shut the fuck up and take this dick.
you don't
It's
shut
like,
up
my
and and I was like, you're right. I'm sorry.
bad. My bad. What was I thinking?
Yeah, what was I thinking? We don't get chances like this often. And so I do. I love, you know what I'm saying, when you get those opportunities, that's always fun.
So, what's the best part of sex to you?
So many good parts. So many good,
You
so many
you
good.
literally, like, bit your lip and looked out the window.
All right. So many good parts. The beginning, middle, and the end.
Mhm.
I mean, I really do love good oral. I love giving and receiving.
Yeah.
I love giving. I do love sucking dick. God damn it, I love sucking dick.
Yeah. Sucking dick is good.
Sucking dick
It's
is so
fun.
great.
And
And
eat pussy.
yeah. Honestly, I feel a little robbed because I feel like I haven't had enough. I feel like I need more practice, and it's been a long time. so I'm a little salty
Yeah.
about that. But
You have one, so you know how to do it.
I don't know, because there's one time this one girl told me that I wasn't good at it, and I didn't know how I felt after that. Yeah, and I was like, "Nah, man, maybe it's your pussy. Maybe you don't even know how." Yeah, I didn't say any of that, but I
Clearly
see
You a
turned into
straight
a
nigga.
fuckboy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I felt really kind of like, I don't know, am I that? But it was early on. That was early on. But yeah, so I love good oral. If it's bad, it's very frustrating. But I'm also, I don't know, I'm a fan of penetration. I don't know, I like it all. This is like, which kid do you love the most? That's not a fair question. Next question. That's not fair. I love it all.
Well, what's the most frustrating part?
You know what's frustrating? And the more I talk to people now, I'm realizing it's a thing. Or apparently, or I don't know. It sounds like it's a thing after I've talked to several people. I would love a guy to be able to stay hard longer when I'm on top. What is that? Is it a circulation thing? How come they can't stay hard when you're on top? Is
Give him
that,
a cock ring.
yeah,
But
yeah.
see, some guys are just kind of about toys, but
Yeah. They're super new about toys. But
I
I
feel
would
like a
love
cock
to
ring would keep
ride more
them.
often. That's one where
It
you're like,
would keep
that's the
more
top of
blood
my mind
there.
frustration, especially because if I'm wet and I'm upside down, you're not gonna get as much of it. But if I'm on top and I'm just like dripping down, that's gravity. Like you're gonna catch this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always like, yeah, I'm on top. And then they're like, and then they move me and I'm like, nah, shit. This would have been great if I could have. Yeah. So that's yeah.
That's
And
that let me
Some
move
of
you before
it,
let's go before I
yeah.
bust.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
I think sometimes it is. It's like this is a little too wet, and maybe we should try something else.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um.
Are there things in your day that ever keep you from being like in the mood? Like, can work? Are you one of those people who work can intrude, or family shit, or whatever else takes you by?
Nothing's gonna stop this loving. Um, yeah, moods. No, 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 no. Just my period. I have not mastered feeling great during my period. I've even sometimes, not often at all, but there have been times where I have been horny on my period and still been like, nah, I can't. It's just not a threshold I've crossed.
I'm a fucking horn dog.
Yeah. But do you have sex on your period? Oh.
So sex, no.
I am busy. I'll
It
ask the
depends.
questions here.
It depends on the partner. Some guys be like, "Bitch, throw down a towel." Other ones be like, "Let's wait."
Yeah, let's
So
wait.
yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely been with some people who were like, it's not a thing. And I'll be like, it is a thing. I can't do it. But no, there's nothing else that really, unless I got a problem with that dude specifically. Um, yeah, if not, no. You
Okay.
usually talk me into
You're
it.
like, there's always a way.
Yeah, there's always a way. Keep talking.
So we talked about baby Teresa's masturbation.
Mm.
What about now? How often do you masturbate? What are your preferred techniques?
I'm super boring. Like I said, I just that me and that little vibrator. And the truth of the matter is, honestly, I am a new vibrator user. Only in the last, when did I get that job? 2017, maybe like 2017, like the last 3 years. Have it just that's it. Before then, it would be finger, and it wouldn't even be finger inside. It'd just be clit stimulation with my finger. And I've watched porn. Sometimes I can come off imagination, but it was always clitoral stimulation with my finger. That's what it was. And now it's just clit stimulation with a vibrator.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it might be a shower head. You might get that.
I've
Yeah.
never done the shower head, and
Me either.
I actually live in a house now with the thing.
I literally travel from house to house with my own detachable shower heads that I take down theirs and put my own shits up. But I've never used it for that purpose. It's just easier to wash all this fucking hair.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I need a good, because of the hair thing, I need a good hard pressure shower head. And for a long time, I mean, I'm going to say probably maybe since my 20s, I have found shower heads to be occasionally handy.
I feel like I may need to try this. I've
I know,
heard this
I'm
so many
like,
times, but
You
never done
get
it myself.
I got a
one
project for the
stream
night.
going straight at your clit. Just
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, I got a project for the night.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much.
Focus.
What would you change about your sex life if you could just snap your fingers and make it so?
If I could snap my fingers and make it so, I would abolish all STDs.
Yeah. Get rid
Yeah.
of them niggas. Yeah.
real quick. Cause you know what I'm saying, you could drop a load off and I'll catch that plan B real quick, but this them STDs.
Girl, you went to the chop shop like a motherfucker.
I already took it. Don't worry. Just it was plan A all along. But no, but definitely, yeah, that would be it. If I could just, I mean, that's a lofty, are we talking about something that's actually more like real and realistic?
Not
Whatever.
anything.
Honey, if you snapping fingers and making things happen, we want big shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be it. Everything else would be great.
Okay.
I had no complaints otherwise. That would be the
Right. So, what is a sex best practice that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh, sex best practices. Okay, yeah, here we go. Because not a lot of people have the opportunity or take the opportunity to share this. But I think I've mastered anal prep. You know what I'm saying? And I think
yes,
there are
let's talk
just
about
a
it.
lot of women who are skeevish, rightfully so, because they are uninformed about how to properly prep for anal. And so, everything from sort of, I'm not really big on like watching what you eat. I don't eat a bunch of crazy stuff. But just knowing what's going on with your stomach, right, is important. And sort of clearing out early enough. And then I love my travel douche. Like it's just easy peasy, and it's in a little, zipper case that it comes in, and you just fill it up with some not hot water and, get that clean out going. And lots and lots and lots of lube. I now only recently, because of my gay male friend recommended, I didn't know idea about silicone lube. You know what I'm saying? It really just
So
never
much better.
dries.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
It just
never
kind
ever
of
dries.
stays on top.
Yeah. You just turn that bottle open and just upside down into just empty a half a bottle of lube into your ass. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you just finger, you know what I'm saying, stretch yourself out a little bit. And it's gonna hurt. Like it's gonna hurt first. But if you keep going through the tunnel, you get to the other side is a pot of gold. Pot of gold. Yeah, I really wish more women would take the steps and get good about it, because it's just like one more. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you was going to to Six Flags every year, and then you found out that there was a whole other wing of Six Flags you didn't even know was You're like, oh shit, there's all these rides on this side too.
Do y'all see this shit?
I've been coming to Six Flags for years. I had no idea they had these rides when you turn the corner. Like it's just a whole other amusement park in your booty hole.
Yes.
Love that analogy.
Amusement park in your booty hole. Do you have any must-use tools?
Just the lube. And I don't, right now I think I'm cute because I'm always wet, so I don't use a lot of lube for vaginal. And even sometimes I'm like, I probably should have used lube. Like I'm just like,
yeah, those moments are always the worst, when your ass was being big and bad, and then you finish and you're like, oh, maybe you should have.
Damn it. Yeah, so lube is cool. Like because like had you stopped, trying to be cute, like it probably would have been even better. You're like, what would make this better is lube. Like you'd forget I have it on, and we just be going to town. So yeah, that would be my number one, because otherwise like I said, my experience with toys isn't super duper long. So.
Okay, so we always do a would you rather question.
Okay.
Would you rather give up, like if you couldn't do it at all ever again in life, masturbation or partnered sex?
Oh, masturbation, what? Next question, right? I ain't gonna touch myself. You gonna touch me? I don't have to touch myself. You gonna do it? I'm lazy as shit. Hell yeah. I give up masturbation in a second. My lazy ass.
Same,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not necessarily. Well, no, also in part because I'm lazy, because I'd be so tired and be like, okay, I don't feel like going through all of that. But
Yeah.
also, it's to me, and I would not
Hello.
imagine I'm necessarily the majority in this situation, but the orgasms are not as intense for me as they are when I'm having partner sex. So it's always a
Yeah.
little disappointing. It's like,
Yeah. It's always like
that
it
all there
feels like
is?
maintenance. Yeah. When you make
Yeah.
yourself come, you're like, okay, that was cool. Good. Got that out of the way. But
You just laying in
I
bed, you wake up the next
yeah.
morning, wash your face like you
Yeah.
dirty.
Never
Look
happened.
at you with your
Right.
nasty
Yeah.
ass.
But no, I am having deep vaginal orgasms right now.
Mm,
And I enjoy that. So
mhm. Yeah.
yeah, bring on the partner.
Mm.
I like it. So what do you hope that people will learn from this little walk through your sex life?
Mm. Um, honestly, the thing I'm actually still trying to learn, honestly, over everything, and I'm not a parent, um, is about that childhood development. And so it's not so much this is what I wish you would learn from me knowing, but it's something I hope we all learn a little bit better. Is really what's okay and what's not, and how to figure out like when to intervene with your kids, or how involved to get. My parents were very not involved. I was stealth as a mofo, and I still am. Like, I'm very sort of protective over my sex life when it comes to my parents. I never talked to my mom. I never talked to my father, and I turned out okay. But I don't know if that's okay for everybody. And so I think that more so than anything, that's something I want to continue understanding and investigating, so that I can help other people, um, how to deal with your kids and how to deal with whatever you went through in your childhood.
Mm. All
Yeah,
right. Yay.
cool.
Wow.
Yay. I
Very.
adore you guys.
Thank
Yay.
you
We
so
love you
much for
too.
joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I wish we
You're
could do
so
this
much
every
fun.
day.
You're so much
This is
fun.
what we love about this show. We get to talk to dope people about dope shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about the dopest shit on the
Maybe
planet.
we
Yeah.
can bring you back to go a little bit more about the backdoor action.
Yeah, that'd
Yes,
be
and
fun.
I will talk about that on cover. We can, yes. I will I'll tell you about my
So this
real
is my
life.
booty. Look at pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. That's me in the
Exhibit
background.
A.
Yeah.
Exhibit A. I am currently missing the backdoor action situation. So, yeah.
All
Yeah.
righty.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of The Turn On. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you soon.
This episode was produced by us, Erica and Kenrya, and edited by Ballistic. The theme music is from Brazy. Now you can support The Turn On and get off. Subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Then drop us a 5-star review, and you'll be entered to win something that's turning us on. Post your review and email a screenshot to us at theturnonpodcast@gmail.com to enter. Our Patreon page is also live. Become a supporter today and access lots of goodies, including 2-for-1 raffle entries. Don't forget to send us your book recommendations and sex and related questions. And follow us on Twitter at The Turn On Pod and Instagram at The Turn On Podcast. You can find links to books, merch, transcripts, guest info, and other fun stuff at theturnonpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon. Holla!